Is there a tool that can not only create beautifully designed slides, but also present them, share control of the slides with another person, get audience interaction with questions and comments and reactions, and you can share a link to the slides after without having to host it somewhere? That's incredible. And that is what you can do with Canva Presentations. So that's what we're talking about today. How do you use Canva Presentations? And if I sound excited, it's because I actually just learned a few new features that I did not know about. When I was going to create this video, I was honestly going to focus on how incredible it is to share control of slides with another person. And it's a great tool if you are presenting with another person. Hands down, I love it, and I'm so impressed with it. But as I was preparing for this video, I learned so many other things. So we are going to get into it today. You can use the chapter markers to jump around to what you want, but we are going to dive into this. And also, if you've never met me before, my name is Kat, and I help people to stand out in virtual meetings and presentations. And this tool, if you have not used Canva Presentations or you've barely scratched the surface, you are in for a treat today. So let's dive in. We're going to be doing some screen sharing. And so sometimes I'll be on the screen, sometimes I won't. And there are going to be a few things going on because I really want you to get a feel for all the different options you have for presenting in Canva. First and foremost, if you don't have a Canva account, you can create a free one. I have a paid account, but the free account, you can do a lot with the free account. So if you want a presentation, they have a ton of templates. So if I click here on the left side, if I'm on this page here, I can go under Home to Templates. When I travel over to Templates, you'll see a bunch of new ones, and you can click on Presentations. And this is where you'll see all the templates. And when I say all the templates, I'm talking over 11,000 templates. So you can actually use filters to help you to define what you want. For example, down in the side here, I can use the side filters about the style, the theme, the color. And if you're in the free account, you can also toggle, just show me the free ones. I don't want to see the paid ones. So maybe we want to toggle down and say business theme. And if you know me, you know I kind of like this color range. Then you can see, okay, I've narrowed it down to 29 templates. That helps you a little bit. So if I click on them, you can actually start to see a preview, or even if you hover, and I can see there are 10 slides in this one, 10 slides in this one. This one has 30 slides. On any of these, you can click on it to see a preview, click around on some of the different styles and slides that you can see. If you like it, you can say, you know what, I'm going to customize this template. When you click on that, it's going to say, start with one slide, but it allows you to create many others. So I could individually say, I like this slide, I like this slide, and you can start to add those, or you can apply all 10 pages and start that way. And if you really like this design, you could click on it and just duplicate, create a few of those. You can easily move these around and rearrange them. I'm purposely not going to spend very much time on how to update these templates. There are some great tutorials out there. I'm so excited about the presenting features that we're going to skip over how do you edit, but it really is just click on different elements and you can edit the elements the way that you like. So it's a very user-friendly interface. That's why I've always really liked it. The other thing I'll say is that if you are working on a slide and you want to have notes, these will be presented if you use presenter view, which is the one I'm going to focus on. But you could put a note here and say, you know, remember to tell them X, Z, Z. I have a demo presentation already set up. Now, the other thing that's really lovely about Canva is that you can also share with other people. So if I am not the only person working on this presentation, I can share these slides with someone else. If you go to the top right corner, you can either click on this little plus, or you can click on share, and you can enter someone's email address in order to invite them to the slide deck. You can actually see here at the top, there are 2 CMs, and that's because I've shared this with another email account that I have. So I have a free account. So if we bring over, I have the browser, a different browser open, you can see here, this is the other one. And if I actually click on the name, I can see which slide is being worked on right now. And I could send a comment if I want and said, you know, let's update the title slide to something catchier. So I can leave this comment, and then you can have this comment the other person can see, or you can also leave comments to yourself if you want to remember them when you're working on it. So now if I go over here, I can actually see that there is a comment. I can react to it. I can reply to it. Say, and I can say, great. So we'll work on that. So that's one of the ways that this really has an advantage over using Keynote or PowerPoint, where you would have to share the file, they would have to open the file. This you can just use from any browser, log in from anywhere, and easily share with other people. All right, once you've got it the way you want it, let's discuss presenting. So when it comes to presenting, there are 4 different ways if you have the Pro plan, 3 ways if you have the free plan. Standard, this is what you think of when you're presenting, where when you say present, it goes into full screen. It kind of takes over your screen, and you can use your keyboard in order to advance through the slides. If you press escape, it will escape out of the presentation. If you have the Pro plan, you'll see the option for autoplay. This is where you just set how long you stay on each slide. I'm going to skip over presenter view right now, and first let's talk about present and record. Present and record allows you locally to record your slideshow with your face in the bottom left corner. Based on my experience, it's still fairly limited, meaning you can only have your face in the bottom corner, similar to where I am, but with this, I could adjust the size, I can adjust the placement, so you aren't able to adjust how big the circle is. You can't even really crop your camera. So right now, as of when I film this, there are some limitations, but it's still a great alternative if you want to be able to record yourself with your slides. Just remember to make your slides so that you're not covering anything in that bottom left corner. So let's go back to present, and let's focus on the one that is really just takes the cake, which is presenter view. So for presenter view, when you click present, you are going to be shown 2 different windows, the audience window and your presenter window. So the audience window is what you show your audience, and the presenter window has all of your notes, and it has all of the different effects. And we're going to go through those effects and options that you have with your presenter window. Couple of things. Ideally, this is what you want for going into full screen. If you are able to have a second monitor, you want to bring this into your second monitor and go into full screen. Now, I actually declined full screen, but you move it and then press go into full screen, and then you would share that full monitor. So if I have a second monitor, I want to share my second monitor, and then I use my presenter view on my primary monitor. If you are only working off of one monitor, I'm going to show you your option. So first, we want to make this a little bit smaller. So it doesn't have to be crazy small, but we want it to be smaller. And you just don't want to have this overlapping. So we're going to close this. Let's just drag this a little bit over. So we have our 2 different side by side. If you are on just a laptop or you only have the one monitor, this is an option for you. Let's pretend you're in a Zoom meeting, because that's very common. And I happen to have a Zoom meeting running right now, so I can show this example. So it's me and my evil twin. If I were to share my screen, I can go into, when I get my share screen, it'll open to this basic page, and you can see audience window. If I click on this and I share, everything in that green box is what they are seeing. And you can actually see a little preview down there. So even this, when I toggle, they're going to see that. And I just happen to have a preview. I've connected a second laptop so that I can show you what this looks like. So if we pop into the Zoom meeting, this is what it looks like for another person who's watching your presentation. They can see, if you hover, they can see the bottom. If you use this as a presenter, they can watch you do that. And they can also see this audience window at the top. They can see this about.blank. So it can be a little bit distracting. So if we go back to my main screen, let's do something different, which is my preference. If you go to New Share, Advanced, Portion of Screen, and then Share, you'll see I was obviously practicing this demo before. It remembers generally where you are, but everything in this box, whatever you show, that's going to show for your audience. So we want to position this over our slides. I highly recommend setting this up before. So start your own empty meeting, position the box, position your slides, Then you can start your initial meeting or join your initial meeting. Once you've done that, if we go over to the Zoom meeting, you can see how much cleaner it is. And if on my other screen, I'm toggling through the slides, they can't see that. Now, I think the resolution would be highest if you have a second monitor, but they'll still be able to see your slides using this technique. And if you do hover, they can see that as well. So you will be able to see your cursor, even if you just share a section of your screen. So let's stop this share and we're going to move the meeting out of the way and let's get into the actual controls. I'm going to move this presentation window just kind of up and out of the way, maybe make it a little bit smaller so we can explore the presenter view. So up here, you'll see that there's a timer. And actually, I think if it's long enough, it'll show you the time. So this is the time that I am filming this. And if you don't want your timer or you're not ready to start yet, you can always reset. And when it's ready, you can press play. It's up to you whether you want to use the timer. It's a nice feature if you know you only have a limited amount of time in order to make your presentation. You will also see along the top here that there is a keyboard. So these are what's called magic shortcuts. If you open this, you're going to see magic shortcuts. So these are animations as well as timer options that you have for your presentation. And you can either write down or kind of memorize the ones that you want. For example, blur, if we click this, you'll see the audience window blurs. And if we click it again, it will unblur. But if I click away and I say B on my keyboard, it will blur. With the timer, it says 0 to 9. So if I actually can choose a timer between 1 to 9, well, I guess you can do 0, but 1 to 9 minutes. For example, if I press 1, it will pop up a timer and it will start to count it down. Something I think that is important to tell you is that there is an animation and it'll get lower as the minute counts down, or 2 minutes, 3 minutes, whatever you choose. But there's also an added element of animation. So that's just helpful. Watch the full animation before you use it, because you don't want to be surprised the first time you're using it, if it's in front of people, that there's a ducky with a Christmas hat floating by. I frankly don't know if you can change that. So that was something that I would just advise. If you want to get rid of it, you can actually press the number again. So if I press 1 again, it will disappear. Or if I've got the timer going, I can at any time press X. You can also combine these. So maybe I want to press B to blur the background and I want to have a timer. If I decide, you know what, we're going to stop this, we're done, everyone's done their exercise, you could just press X and then both of them will go away. What about these other ones? So for example, we had bubbles. So we've got bubbles. If we click on this, you'll see bubbles. There's also an audible sound, or you have things like confetti. Feel free to play around with these, but judge your audience whether it's appropriate or not to use these features. Next, we have our menu. This is our more menu. So one of the things I would like to highlight is that you can hide this magic cursor. So if we leave it as it is right now, when you're on the slide, there's a magic cursor. And when I'm on the presenter view, your audience can see just the highlight, but they don't see the arrow. So if I'm on the slide, I could use this sort of like a laser pointer so the audience can look at something specific. But if you don't need to point to your slides, I highly recommend turning it off. The other thing is if you're over in your actual audience window and you can advance your slides with this, they will see the little arrow. And if I click next, they will see that. If I click next, they will see that. So it actually shows. I personally find this somewhat distracting, and also you can't control exactly. If I wanted to point at all of these, this works because they're on this side of the page. But if I wanted to point right on the left side, I can't. So there are some limitations. And as far as I know, as of when I'm filming this, I don't think you can change the color. So if I go over to this menu and I say hide magic cursor, then I just don't have to worry about this showing up. If I'm on the slides and I'm navigating them this way and that, they can see, they can see it on that one. So use the slides over here. The other thing that's really interesting, let's say you're on a slide and you are collaborating with someone else. You'll see in this menu, it says hide live edits. Well, what that means is if somebody's actually editing your slides while you're presenting. So you can't present, when you're in presenter mode, you cannot edit these. I can't click on these and make changes, but my collaborator can. So if we bring this window over and we realize, you know what, this year is not correct. This was actually 2017. So I'm going to show you. So yeah, hopefully you can see it. So there's the present, well, we've got the live audience view and we've got the editing view. If I delete that, you'll see it went away on that slide and then I pressed the year. So I'm correcting the year and it will update live. There we go. So with this option of saying, do you want live edits or not? That's what they're saying. However, if you turn it off, any changes, so if a collaborator notices in 3 slides from now there's a mistake, if you've got that turned off, it will not show the updates. So think of it as if you're hiding live edits, so if I say hide live edits, this is staying exactly as it is when I started the presentation. No changes can be made. But if you allow live edits, somebody could make an edit to a different slide and it will update live in your presentation. All right, let's look at share remote control, which is kind of the main reason I wanted to make this video. So we have share remote control. If we click this, it will allow us to copy a link to this presentation. So if I copy the link, it's now copied. I can paste and share that with my co-presenter. And if I did that, let's do that over here. So I'm going to paste it in the other browser. So if we bring this over here and we make this smaller, we can see that there are controls. And if I control this, I can actually watch these click over from side to side. I can also see that there is one person connected, but that's not all. Maybe you're actually working on this on your own, but you want to open a browser on your phone. So let's see if this works. We're going to paste. Now on my phone, it's really small, but it's the exact same thing. I've got these controls, and so I can say, I want this slide to advance, and I'm advancing the slides. So if you just want to use your fingers and kind of tap this way as the way to control the slides, you can absolutely do that. You can see here on this presenter view that I have 2 people connected. So one is this browser here, and one is on my phone. This is a really great option. As the presenter, you can actually pause the controls, which gives the people you shared it with a little message to say that this is paused. They can't control these right now. And so that's a really good way to manage if you do not want them to change something during your presentation. The other thing you'll note is that these folks you can do magic shortcuts. So if I allow this and say resume, they have some access to magic shortcuts. They cannot access the timer, but they can use the reaction buttons. So if they wanted to blur the slides, they can blur the slides. There's also an option, once you're connected this way in the browser, you don't have to click on these buttons. You can actually use your keyboard, and the keyboard can go side to side as well. And the person you share that with will see that instruction on the page. So that is how you share control. And honestly, that is a really great feature if you are working with another person. What I recommend is when it's your turn, present until you get to another person's slide. As soon as you get to their slide, that's their cue to start speaking. They take control and they go until they get to your slide. And then when you see your slide, now it's your time to take control. The last thing I want to show you, which is so cool, is Canva Live. So Canva Live, I thought this was publishing your presentation to the web. I was wrong. This is a way, as you are presenting, you can actually get audience engagement. So let's take a look. If we start a new session, you are going to get a code. So you will ask them to go to canva.live. So let's go to this empty window. We'll go to canva.live, and we're going to enter this code. And so we do that. I've got this demo presentation. Let's just raise this up a little bit better so you can see it. It does not want to. There we go. So anyone who enters this is going to see that they can actually put their question or comment in the box, and they can add their name or stay anonymous. For example, if this first one says, "Can you answer my question?" and this question is from Sue, and they press enter, you will see that in your presenter view. And if you click on it, it will actually show up live in the presentation. So everyone watching can know exactly which question you are addressing. This is amazing if someone has kind of drifted their attention away and they're no longer, maybe they don't know which question you're answering. Well, this allows you to do it. You can click again in order to make it disappear. If someone just simply has a comment, so they say, wow, you can show comments, they can do that. Now, if someone doesn't have a name, so maybe let's just erase Sue and it's optional. So then you click, it will just say anonymous. So if you put that up, you'll see that it's anonymous. It doesn't hide the fact that it's anonymous, but if they do have their name, then you'll be able to show these examples. The one other thing you'll notice is there's a little heart. So these are reactions. If you click on this, you can have different reactions. So people could clap and you'll see, actually, let's move this over. Maybe someone loves what you just said. This will allow your audience to actually interact and everyone will see it on the page. Obviously, there are going to be situations where it's appropriate and not appropriate. So if you want, you can always have a question period or an engagement period, and then you can simply end the session and they will see stopped accepting questions and answers. And that means they can also stop having those reactions. This is a fantastic tool that, frankly, you cannot do this if you're just doing the traditional presentation in PowerPoint or in Keynote. So this is a feature that I absolutely love. Now, let's say we end the presentation and we want to share this. So I'm going to move this away for a second. We're going to make this a little bit bigger. If we click share and say view only link, this is going to allow us to copy a link. Let's just open a new browser, paste that link. You can now see that we have a view only where people can go through the slides. They can see your slide deck. And maybe you don't want to share every single slide. That's okay. You could always modify, delete the slides, or make a copy of your presentation. Just make a condensed version, share the link to that one, and voila, you've got your slideshow. I mean, I'm just so excited about this feature. So if you have barely used it, or you haven't used it, or you've been on the fence, or you're looking for an option that's going to give you all of these features, definitely check out Canva. I think this is quickly becoming one of my most suggested options. If you are making a slideshow, this checks so many boxes. It's just a wonderful tool. And I really think that this is going to help you to stand out in virtual meetings and presentations.